we say we talk about the Irish team and the different national teams, and the supporters are giving out about the players that they're not. Maybe now with all these extra games, the top players, and they're going to get completely burdened out, or they'll be picking and choosing. But you can't be on full power every time. So first of all, how would the players respond to this? And the second part is, how would the supporters will respond to all these games, extra games, down top of your league games, down top of your cup games, and then, you know what I mean? So, but first of all, the players with all the extra games.
Well, I think, Paul, if you talk about burnout, I think the players are burned out already. There's so many games now; it's crazy. I mean, for example, I just broaden out a little bit. The Euro 2004 final. 5 weeks after that final, they're all back playing for their clubs for the league season. Now, obviously, you might say, "Oh, well, that's the professional football." But the quality of football, Paul, is going to suffer if you keep logging out the players week in, week out, week in, week out. European games, international games. Uh, now they've got this Club World Cup coming up next year. I think.
Yeah.
Even Chelsea, for God's sake, we won last one the Champions League in 2021. There was even talk that we could be in it, and I don't know. It's going to be like more of a tournament than normally when the teams won the Champions League, there are 2 games and they've won the bloody thing. So if we talk about the injuries, then Paul, I think I can see a lot more injuries happening after this. More games means more injuries, Paul. Let's face it. How would the supporters react to it? Look, I think if your team is doing well and you can see football week in, week out, and fanatics want to see football nearly every day of the week, I think fans will probably enjoy it. But I think even after that, like, too much football can be draining too, Paul. Like, because particularly in money terms, fans can't afford. Across Europe, most countries in a cost of living crisis. Fans can't be asked to be paying money after money all the time. Eventually, fans will say, "I can't afford this anymore," and I'll just go to maybe the few home games, the odd game here and there, because tickets are just going up. I mean, I think Arsenal have one of the most. Their own fans, they're getting not ripped off, but they're certainly have to pay for their enjoyment. I think Arsenal have one of the highest ticket prices in Europe. For example, and whenever Bayern Munich visits any of the clubs in England, they've always got banners saying this is a rip-off, because I think in Germany they're much more considerate of their fans. So yeah, more money, Paul, for the clubs, for the big shots, more games, and then it's the players then that suffer because they're the ones that have to do the business, and they
of course,
suffer from injuries.
as I said, the television. So your people working the television, the presenters, the cameramen, the ex-players, the ex-managers doing analysis, all the programs, they love it. It is fill up, and of course, the match isn't just an hour and a half. But to be on that, maybe a half an hour before, a half an hour afterwards, highlight shows, replays, etc. So the television companies love it. It fills up all the extra matches. It fills up their schedule.
Oh, that's it, Paul. I mean, just to broaden out, just talk about television. The BBC have a highlights problem even. The BBC, I think, it never had that in my lifetime. I don't remember the BBC having the Champions League highlights or live games. It used to always be ITV or Sky or BT, but now the BBC even have a highlights program on a Wednesday night and a Thursday night. I mean, that shows you how big it is that they need 2 highlight shows to cover all the games. And it's all money, Paul. TV money, more games. It's sort of depressing in a way, Paul, because it's just there's a take the good out of it in a way too. Like, the old, like, I'm not saying I'm a traditionalist, but I didn't mind.
Well, I am. I was traditionalist.
I didn't mind the format I grew up in, but I remember, Paul, there used to be 2 group phases.
Yeah,
over 20 or just over 20 years ago. I do remember that. But I find anything that's seen as traditional, they have to change it. And I don't see why they have to make so many changes to if it works, don't break it. So I can understand from the money man's point of view, they want more money in. They want to see their club playing matches, more money, more TV money, more gate money, jerseys.
There's another thing. The merchandising and the corporate sponsors, the merchandising, they'll be pumping it out now. They'll be doing all talking about it. So everyone is going to be making money out of it, But as I said, end of the day, somebody has to pay the money, and it's the supporters.
Well, I suppose if you look at it, Paul, football, even though it was always seen as a working class game, it's probably the most capitalist game in the world. they go by the market. I mean, footballers are the top footballers are probably the most paid professional sports people in the world. You see some players are nearly getting 500 grand a week. It's crazy. The top lads. A lot of Irish players, even for example, are getting 30 grand a week as well, and they're probably down the lower end of the Premier League. So yeah, look, Paul. This was thought up by UEFA for one thing, for money, for the clubs who were threatening to leave the Champions League, leave the European competitions that UEFA had organised. They got very scared that all the big clubs will leave, and if all the big clubs leave UEFA, Paul, UEFA have no product. So if say Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all the teams that are caught up in that Super League, if they left, they have no product because fans won't watch. With greatest respect to them, say Club Brugge or Feyenoord battle it out in a Champions League final because like they've no stars. Say all the big clubs, the big players, big managers, they all play for the clubs in England, Spain, Germany.
Sorry, just one final question. How does the FA Premier League look at this? Because if I was involved in the Premier League, I'm looking at this and your potential, this is going to dilute their product. Because
I wouldn't be happy, Paul.
If the top four teams are playing either Wednesday or Thursday night and they're playing at the weekend and they're going to get more money, so some of the you even starting to see it now, a huge gap between the top of the Premiership and the bottom of the Premiership. Like down the road, I can see the Premiership breaking down into maybe 8 or 10 teams or something. Kind of breakaway again or something.
Yeah, initially just about the question, Paul, about the way it is now, I wouldn't be happy because I want my product to flourish as well. And if there's so many games outside of that, because you must remember the Premier League and the FA Cup, they don't necessarily always get on either. Like between the Premier League and the FA, there's always a bit of tension between them two as well. So I think the Premier League won't be happy initially with this either, but they'll have to go over this. Look, their clubs are in Europe. Their clubs, and particularly you always hear the battle for the top four because they want to get into the Champions League. Because the Champions League is where the prestige and European football and stuff like that, and your team can progress. Particularly if you can't win the league, the best thing club can do, like Tottenham or even my own club now, Chelsea, we'll be dying to get back into the Champions League. So because that's where the money is. Obviously, the money is in the league as well, but you can even get more exposure to more money in European football. So look, you would hope that the Premier League won't be diluted. I don't think it will at the moment, but like you said yourself, Paul, I think the quality of football will struggle with all these games. You have to take in international games as well. We were forgetting about them as well. With all these games, if you keep flogging out the players, Paul, eventually players will get injured. I know teams have a lot of big, massive squads now, but you need them because it's because you like with all these games, you're going to get numerous injuries in these games, game after game after game. And look, the quality of football will struggle, Paul. The quality of football will go down.
This is a different final question. I would even suspect down the road some of these matches will be moved to America or out to the Far East. That both clubs, if the ticket sales at home are starting to slip, what they'll do is both teams will go out to the Far East and play outside in Indonesia or Malaysia, fly out and play matches. What won't happen this year or next year, but you can see the way it's going. That's what will happen eventually. These kind of groups, this kind of format, they'll fly out to Malaysia, Indonesia, China, whatever, the Middle East, whatever to Saudi Arabia, all these places, or to go up to America. I can see that down the road.
It could happen, Paul, but I think the leagues will go absolutely bananas because then that means you could have, like, say, an Arsenal Inter Milan game out in America or Malaysia or Saudi Arabia, as I said. I didn't have to fly back in a couple of days later to play a league game. I think the leagues might pull rank. They'll try and pull rank if they can. So there's been talk even games in England, like say Community Shield, they could move that. I think even the Spanish version of the Community Shield, I forget what it's called, whatever it is. I think that was played out in Saudi Arabia. That was played out foreign anyway. That wasn't played in Spain. So I hope it doesn't happen, Paul. But I can see your point today. It can definitely happen, particularly if America come calling. Don't forget Paul. A lot of the owners in the Premier League are American owners.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal are owned by Americans. Chelsea are owned by Americans. Liverpool, Manchester United, the Glazers are still the biggest shareholders in that. They're American. I think Aston Villa even have an American owner, if I'm not mistaken. So So look, I know City are a little bit different, but look, eventually, I hope it doesn't happen. I would hate it, Paul, because I just thought I don't see all I think about that is money, but I don't see the because you'll just annoy,
Yeah,
for
but
for a
no,
better
but
word.
unfortunately, Noel, and we're going on a bit long, but let's go to talk about it anyway. What will happen is outside in these countries, we'll say Indonesia, Malaysia, the Middle East, they have no loyalty to anyone, we'll say club. So if two
Yeah,
teams go out and play the game, they'll fill the stadium, they'll buy the jerseys, there's a big audience, and ultimately they treat the regular supporters like dirt. And that's the reality of it. It's
yeah,
a business. The new supporters are after. The guys outside in,
yeah,
they said in India, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, all these places, they're in the Middle East, but they're paying huge money for players now. They just bring them out there, fly them out there. They're already flying them out
yeah,
doing analysis with it. They'll fly them out there and fly them back again, no problem. And they'll fill
yeah,
the stadiums, they'll sell the jerseys, the TV will be all covered with the internet. And it isn't just TV anymore, it's all this watching on your phone and all these things, which I don't
yeah.
even understand. But that's
Well,
what it's going. They don't give a damn about the man or the woman that's going to the home game. They'll charge them to the nose, and that will get only worse and worse in my personal opinion. I don't want to be downhearted, but I just have to give my honest opinion.
yeah. I mean, I think the connection between the fans and the players has gotten bigger and bigger since you could even go back to the start of the Premier League, because obviously it was all TV money. For example, then when Sky took it over, you couldn't watch games, let's say league games on the BBC anymore or ITV or whatever it was. You had to get a subscription to watch it on Sky, and that's basically where it all started, Paul. And then as you said, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea even have played their season games out foreign, and they make all that money and they can get more fans in, and then you have your fans coming in from all across the world, coming to Stamford Bridge, coming to Anfield, and they probably want a bit of that as well. Like you said, they want a few games back in their country, but the home fans will